If you think that you're too young to have a heart attack, think again. I'm 31 years old and I had a heart attack due to a blood clot. Now, I've been a truck driver for about 7 years, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, but first let me introduce myself. My name is Richard Collier. I'm currently now 34 years old. I live a completely different life than I did when I was 31. Now, I was pretty healthy at the age of 31, so I never thought that I would be having a heart attack. So when the symptoms came upon me, which I'll explain that in a little bit, what they are, so that you can know that this can happen to anyone. I don't care what your age is. I don't care how healthy you may think you are. It can truly happen to anyone. And then after I explain my story and some things that you need to be aware of to make sure you're not going into any type of cardiac arrest, I want to offer you a free resource that will help you transform your life in 30 days or so. And it's a free resource, so you just download it. But I'm going to get right into the story. And I want to thank everyone for watching. Anyone who does watch this, if you do watch this, share this out with your friends because it could help save someone's life. So here's my story. One day I was driving home. I normally work for about a month at a time to 6 weeks at a time, and I normally go home for about 7 days. So I was on my off time, so I drove home. I was completely fine. No problems. I wasn't like coughing or stumbling or getting lightheaded or none of that. None of that was happening. It was just simply my everyday routine. I went home. So I went home. I fell asleep that night. I remember being really tired the night before. And I will say that I was very tired the night before. And I woke up the next morning at about 8 o'clock in the morning. And as soon as I got up, I got this really, really bad pain around my arm area, around my bicep, tricep, and shoulder area. And it was, I just thought I slept wrong. So I didn't pay it any mind. So that's the first sign. If your arm starts hurting, especially your left arm, these two things could lead to either a stroke or a heart attack. So you definitely want to pay attention to any arm pain. Even if you think that you slept wrong, try and massage it out, try and exercise it out, try and stretch it out. If that doesn't work, chances are you could be having a serious problem. But let me finish the story. As I go, I'll point out some of the things that I ignored so that you don't ignore these things, all right? So after my arm was hurting for a while, it actually started to travel. So if you notice that it's traveling, chances are that it's going somewhere. So there's a blood clot or a blockage that is now traveling up either to your head, which creates strokes, or to your heart, which creates heart attacks. In my case, it went to my heart. So as my arm was tingling, it was hurting, and the pain was kind of unbearable. And I didn't want to be like, oh man, feeling all weak and complaining to my wife. But I told her, I said, hey man, my arm's hurting really bad. And she was like, oh, that's not good, babe. Maybe you should go get checked out. And I was like, come on, checked out because my arm hurts really? And so she was like, yeah, you should do it. And I didn't, of course. After a while, I would say maybe about an hour had passed and my arm was hurting. It started creeping over onto my my right chest right here, the right side of my chest. It started creeping over there. And I started getting this really hot, burning sensation as if something was rubbing up against something on the inside. And I just remember it being really, really hot in there. So that's another symptom that you guys need to make sure that you're looking for if you have started out with any type of arm pain. And this pain could actually start in your legs, around your ankles. And a lot of times those are easier to catch because you will see a discoloration around your ankles if your blood's not flowing right, or if it's clotting at the bottom. You're going to see that. And a lot of people with congestive heart failure, you'll see that their ankles get really discolored. It's almost like someone's been bruising it or punching it or something like that, and you can just see a lot of bruises around the ankle. So they checked me actually for signs of that, and I didn't have any of that. So trust me, you don't need something that obvious, and it could still happen. But it started to progress from my arm on over to my chest. And like I said, I felt a lot of friction as if something was rubbing up against something. Not only that, it was very tight and constricted. It felt as if my heart had grown too big for my chest. That's I guess the best way that I can explain it. So after a while, I decided, hey, well, I'm going to try and lay back down and go to bed. For whatever reason, every time I laid down, it just got worse. I would lay down for a second and it would just go boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, this really hurts. So I would get up and try and walk it off. Now, I know a lot of people might think, okay, obviously, if your chest is hurting, you had an arm pain, your wife's telling you to go to the hospital. Keep in mind, I'm 31 years old. I wasn't overweight. I didn't even have a really bad diet. But there were some things, some very key things that I was ignoring about my overall health. I wasn't tracking how much water I was drinking. I wasn't setting daily goals to make sure that I get enough stretches in. I wasn't making sure. I was just like kind of living like I always do, like most of you are. You know what I mean? I was just kind of just doing like whatever. I wasn't taking it as serious as I should have. So what ended up happening is I tried to lay down for a while. A long time ago, I had a really bad case of gas that got trapped in my back. And I had no idea that that gas can get trapped in your back. So when I first started driving, my diet changed a little bit and it gave me a lot of gas. The reason that I'm telling you this is because that's what I thought happened. I thought I had a pocket of trapped gas and it was just like constricting me and hurting me. So I didn't want to go to the hospital because the last thing I was thinking is that, hey, you're having a heart attack. And I was just fine the other day. All right. So I hadn't been feeling sick or weak or anything like that. So that's why I brought that up. All right. So I decided, okay, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and walk this off. Now, I don't know if it helped. I don't know if it hurt. What I can say is that when I started exerting just a little bit of energy to pace back and forth in my room with my arms above my head like this, and I'm breathing, as I'm doing that, I'm just starting to feel incredibly sleepy. Like this is kicking my butt. Like this, just these little steps here and there, it's kicking my butt. So a couple of times I tried to go back in the bed and just lay down because I felt so sleepy. I was like, man, I just want to lay down. And I would lay down for like 2 seconds and then it would, oh God. And I did that about 4 or 5 times. Eventually, I just came to the conclusion that I wasn't going to be able to lay down. So I continued to walk, and it made me more and more and more drowsy, more drowsy, and more drowsy. So I was like, man, something's really wrong here if I'm getting sleepy. Not only am I getting sleepy, I'm getting cold. So that's another symptom that you may experience. If you're having a heart attack, you may experience extreme fatigue from the lightest exertion of your body. You may also experience shivers and uncontrollable coldness where it's just like, oh my God, I just want to warm up and just lay down. I'm so sleepy, I'm so tired. And it got to the point where I was walking around and my body got weak and I ended up falling down. And I was like, man, what are you doing? What is going on? So, me, I'm a genius. So I decide, take a bath. That's what you do. If your chest hurts, your arm hurts, and you fall out, go take a bath. Of course, duh. Didn't they teach you that in school? So I decided to go take a bath and the reason I decided to take a bath because I was really cold. And I was just shaking uncontrollably. And I was putting, jackets on and stuff like that, and it just wasn't working. So I ended up getting in the bathtub to get the hot water to surround me. Now, I don't know if this maybe thinned the blood just enough to where I was able to survive for the amount of time that I did under cardiac arrest. But this is something that I don't want you guys to go through. If you feel any of these symptoms, it doesn't hurt to check. Don't worry about your money or your insurance or anything like that, because none of that will matter if you're not here. And if you have kids, friends, or family, or even just for yourself, make sure you're paying attention to your health. So what ended up happening is I got into the tub and it did stop the shivers, but I felt like I was making the water cold. So I had to, keep running the hot water, running the hot water, running the hot water. And I stayed in there doing that for about 2 hours. Then I got really nauseous, which is another symptom of having a heart attack or some sort of cardiac arrest, is that your stomach will start getting nauseous. Now, there's a chemical that your blood will secrete. I can't say the name of it. I'm not even going to try. You guys can look it up. When I actually got to the hospital, that is how they determined that I had a heart attack, is by looking at those levels. However, after looking at those levels, there was still a problem, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. So I got really nauseous. I started throwing up and throwing up and throwing up. And I didn't realize what was going on at the time. I didn't realize I was having a heart attack. I just thought like, man, I just feel really nauseous. After throwing up for a good little while, I ended up trying to lay down again. And at this point, my wife was with me, and we were kind of like snuggled up together, and she's saying, she's like rubbing my head like, oh, are you okay, baby? Where's it hurt at? Let me see if I can rub this. Let me see if I can help this way. And eventually I fell asleep for about maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And that last time I fell asleep could have actually been the last time I woke up, because after that my chest just exploded. It was just on fire. I could barely breathe. I could barely function. I could barely think. I mean, it was just like I was becoming more and more incoherent, because I'm like, oh God, it's just so tight. It's just so hot. It's just so hard. So immediately she sprung into action. She packed a bag and she rushed me over to the hospital. When I explained my symptoms to the emergency room, they were like, man, if you don't get in this wheelchair right now, and we're gonna roll you up here and throw a bunch of medicine down your throat. I mean, they hooked me up to everything in the hospital except for the vacuum cleaner. You know what I'm saying? I was hooked up to so many machines, and they were running so many tests. They gave me nitroglycerin, which I didn't even know you can swallow as a human. They gave me nitroglycerin. They gave me 4 aspirins, and they gave me morphine. Now, what ended up happening, ultimately, they ran ultrasounds on my heart to see what exactly my heart was doing at the time, and why is this 31-year-old guy having this heart attack. After running the ultrasounds, after running x-rays, after running extensive blood tests, I ended up... they ended up saying, hey, we're going to take you upstairs and we're going to monitor you for a night, and then we're going to release you. But I had a young doctor, and the doctor, he just didn't feel right about that diagnosis. So what he ended up doing is, before he left to go home, he went back to his office to look at the ultrasound one more time. When he did that, he realized that there was the bottom portion of my heart was restricted from beating because there was a blood clot in there. And at the time, he didn't know what it was. He just knew that there was something obstructing it. So immediately they rushed me in for a procedure called a catheterization, which in this case, they went through my wrist right here. You guys probably can't see that, but I still have a nice little scar here where they went through the wrist. And as they went through my wrist, they went into my heart, and they started to vacuum out the blood clots. Now, this gentleman said that in all of his career, these were the biggest blood clots that he's ever pulled out of a living person's heart. In other words, meaning that, there was a little bit of, luck, grace, mercy, whatever you want to call it. There was a lot of that involved. So he sucked out all of the blood clots, and they put a stent inside of my heart. One of the really crazy things about it is how much I had to think about at that point. As I said, I'm a truck driver, and you have to be medically sound as a truck driver in order to continue to drive. So immediately a flood of worry came in. Man, I'm not going to be able to drive trucks anymore. I'm not going to be able to support my family. I'm not going to be able to live the life that I used to live. Am I not going to be able to get on a roller coaster? Am I not going to be able to run, jog, or do any physical activities? I mean, I thought about my whole life changing, and I really just didn't want that. And so that's why I made this video for you guys to just take this story in stride and understand that this could happen to anyone. It can, I'm not a health guru, nor am I, a big junk eater. But I am an average, regular person just like you. I'm someone that was living their life just like you are, just going about it on a daily basis, just like you. What I had to do was I had to transform my life. I had to transform it into a way that I can make sure that this doesn't happen again. And as a result of that, I wanted to make sure it didn't happen to anybody else either. Just by knowing these simple things that I'm telling you, you can fight the battle against cardiac arrest. Now, not only that, I do want to offer you a free resource that I partnered with a good friend of mine, Steve Dansby, who wrote a really awesome book on transformation. There's a link in the description up top somewhere that you can go and you can get your free copy of this book. All you got to do is just put your email in and we'll send you out a free copy of this book. All right. And trust me, guys, don't sleep on this. Just get the book. What's being sold on Amazon as well as other sites, and it's previously sold before in the past for up to $27. And it has a lot of value in it. So I want you guys to download that free transformation book to help you avoid the problems that I just explained by paying attention to your health, being able to get your health and wellness together, because it's ultimately up to you. So we've given you some tools that you can start with. You can go and download that free ebook. Yeah, just go get it and let us know what you think about it. If you have any questions, you can comment and I will respond to your questions. If you have any questions about heart attacks or health or anything like that. Like I said, I had my heart attack when I was 31, and it was a scary experience. It's just not something you're going to forget easily, and it definitely changes your life. Avoid that. Download the free ebook and let me know what you think about it. And also make sure, if you think this live video could help a friend or a family member or an enemy or anyone, just hit that share button and get this information out here, because a lot of people are negligent to their health. They're not thinking about having a heart attack. I wasn't, and I know they're not either. So sometimes videos like this will really wake a person up and kind of realize that, man, am I drinking enough water? Am I stretching enough? Am I, eating right enough? I realized that, hey, you know what? Having a heart attack might have been a really bad thing for me, but it's helped so many people to evaluate their life. That I just feel blessed that I was able to survive, and I'm able to offer you this free ebook that I partnered with Steve Dansby to bring you guys. So yeah, just get your free copy. You can download it. Hey, I love you guys, man, and I hope you guys take heed to the warnings. Don't be like me. Don't ignore your health. Don't have a heart attack. Love you guys. Peace.